Welcome to the Christian Car Guy Radio Show.
I say this calls for action, and now.
Now serving number 823. Well, it's another long day here at the DMV.
Just say yes forever now.
Now serving today at the Christian Car Guy Show. How fun. That's a pretty good song if you hear the whole thing, you know. The DMV, you know, when you think of that idea of now serving, you know, the number 842 or whatever, you know, you have a chance to wait a good while. And actually, a lot of us, when we think about serving, it doesn't bring forth this like, oh, man, I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait. It's just, it doesn't jump out there. The word has a different connotation. Especially if you worked at the DMV, I'm sure that it would be a hard sell. However, when you look at some things that Jesus said, and you certainly think about prayer, I don't know if you've ever given much consideration to this, but one of the most instrumental prayers in all the Bible, the more I study it, the more I am completely convinced the Bible hinges on Hannah's prayer. There's lots of hinges in the Bible, like things really change. Well, Hannah's prayer really changed a whole lot of things. As a matter of fact, if you look carefully, and I've studied this immensely, that the word for prayer changes with Hannah's prayer. The way it's spelled in all the prayers in the Bible by the canon is only got 3 letters until Hannah's prayer. And Hannah's prayer is actually spelled with 5 letters, but every time that it's mentioned after Hannah's prayer, it's spelled with 4 letters. And it's spelled with a particular letter that would indicate a servant that would be on and I could show you that there's 2 letters actually that are involved in the one letter that it added, but it has everything to do with serving. And 3 times in her prayer, she makes reference to her being a servant. So not only does the word prayer change, not only does the idea of prayer change from the idea that all the prayers prior to Hannah's prayer, somebody's standing up speaking to God. In a Hannah's prayer, she's praying from her heart and her lips are moving, but you can't hear her voice. And 3 times in that prayer, and I'll just read it for you right here, it says, then she made a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your maidservant and remember me and not forget your maidservant, second time, but will give your maidservant, if you'll give your maidservant a male child, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor will come upon his head. In other words, she sees herself not as working at the DMV. But what she sees herself as a maidservant. And even cooler than all that for me, and it's just Robbie looking at these things. The word for maidservant has the root word of mom. And actually, you just add a 3rd letter onto the word maidservant, and that 3rd letter is kind of indication of a revelation of mom. And when you think about a mom, if there's a better picture of an amazing servant, I don't know what it would be. And what mother have you ever known that when that baby was laid down in her arms, and she now has a chance to be now serving, is not elated beyond all imagination? I mean, you put that newborn baby in that mother's arms, and she isn't thinking, oh, now serving number 460. It's not even close to that, right? And you can imagine Hannah's expression when Samuel came, and it's a really tender story when you think about it. Samuel is writing the story of his mom's prayer, right? And when you think about her being the maidservant of God, like she's talking about, here comes Samuel, and there's nobody more elated on the planet Earth than at that moment in time than Hannah, right? Whose name means grace, by the way. Grace actually revealed. And so when you think about this idea in relationship to what Jesus said, now I was to give you a little Jesus here. He said, if anyone serves me, this was John 12:26. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant will be also. If anyone serves me, my Father will honor him. In other words, Jesus is saying, oh, yeah, you're going to be a servant. And where you are following me into service, then I'm going to be there with you. And so not only do you get to serve, not only do you get to have that baby in your arms, not only do you get all that stuff, but you get to have Jesus with you too. And, oh, by the way, the Father's going to honor you. So you have the whole triple threat. Right? You go, wait a minute now. And I'm going to just say that if you've ever had the chance to share Christ with somebody and you were involved in a birth of a new Christian, were you thinking, now serving, like, man, I've got to disciple this guy and it's going to be a pain? No. I mean, you could not be more thrilled than the opportunity, right, to be a mom, to be a servant. And so if you listen back to my intro, you might have heard to say now serving, and but then it says just say yes. And the idea is saying yes to the dress, okay, because we all are the bride of Christ. And in so many ways, we are his maidservant, okay? And this is our opportunity that, like, if you follow Jesus, I'm going to bet the farm, it's going to lead you to service. It just will. And then he will be with you if you're serving him. And such is the Jesus labor love, right? I followed him. This is where he took me. We get a chance to do it. Scott's sitting across from me. Bob's sitting across from me. Guys, is there anything more fun than seeing God at work in the ministry? Bob, go ahead.
Absolutely, brother. It's I don't know, when he takes over, it's and applies guidance, it just there's nothing like it.
Right, and you see it, you saw it, whether it was at 109 You Pull It, or you see it in this opportunity. We got a car that was donated to us in Ohio. We're trying to right now find out how we're going to get it from Ohio to us. So, by the way, if you feel like volunteer for making a road trip, you can get in touch with me with the website, ChristianCarGuy.com. We'll hook you up with it. If you happen to be in Winston-Salem, we got to go up to Ohio, get a car. How exciting, Scott?
Yeah, I totally agree. Servitude has a way of shifting the paradigm. And a lot of psychologists will tell you that if you are feeling down in the dumps and you just take it off of yourself and just start thinking about people that you can serve within a community, if you pray, God will use you. It may be as a waitress, it may be as a mechanic. I've been very blessed to be a patient advocate for several years, and every day I get to witness. And so, what a blessing, yeah. So if you just take the burden off of yourself and start thinking about others, you'd be surprised how it just lifts your spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Very good point,
Robbie. But you really think about it, I don't know, have you ever given any thought? And it's just really cool to think about that right there in this idea of mom. The Bible is showing us that to be a mom is to be the ultimate servant. I mean, that's an expression of service. Like my mom, oh my goodness, did she serve me all the days of her life. Did your mom serve you, Bob?
Absolutely. And Scott said it perfectly for me, because I've said it several times. If I'm having a bad day, I need to find somebody to help. And anytime I find somebody to help, just like you said, it takes the focus off of me, and all of a sudden, I'm not having a bad day anymore.
Absolutely.
There you go. So that's the idea today on the Christian Car Guy Show. I would love for you to call us. If you were following Jesus, and the next thing you know, he led you into service, right? Mm-hmm. How fun. And it wasn't a burden by any means, but it was an opportunity to see him at work, and it just lit your fire. 866-348-7884, 866-34-TRUTH. Bob, you look like the man who ate the canary or something.
Well, I've been led into service before, but there was a couple of times I was drug into it. I resisted and I resisted and I resisted, and it didn't matter. He was going to get me there no matter what. And kicking and screaming or whatever, no matter how many times I tried to say no, it became crystal clear to me that yes was the proper answer, you know.
And you can feel him right there because he's going to be with you. So we got Wendy and Carrie calling in. We need your calls. 866-348-7884. 866-348-7884. This is Jesus Labor Love Week. And if you want to find out more about car repair labor for moms and widows, it's all there at ChristianCarGuy.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Now serving number 823. Well, it's another long day here at the DMV.
Just say yes forever now.
I have to say that Christian Bush's Forever Now, which is a song that was to say yes for the dress, is one of my favorite of that whole song. It's just an amazing song. I have to think that he's a Christian, and he was, when you say forever now, when you give your life to Christ, there's this wedding and this idea of service that's connected to it that's absolutely unbelievable. I'm so grateful for that. But, this being Memorial Day weekend, we would be greatly remiss if we didn't start off by saying thank you for your service to all the veterans that are out there. But, I did a show, True Talk Live this week and Nick, our producer, helped me out with this concept that I had not considered, that our current veterans will someday graduate to Memorial Day veterans. And that as we as we decorate the graves of servicemen and women, that, you may have some people in your life, and I certainly do, that have graduated. And it's a pretty nice thing to remember them on Memorial Day, which that's coming up at 3:00 on Monday, where we can have a special remembrance for the whole country of the service of our veterans. And so we don't want to not mention that on the Christian Car Guy Show by all means. But today's show is, when did Jesus lead you into service? And oh my goodness, it was just an absolute blast. 866-348-7884. We got Richard coming up in the garage at the bottom of the hour. We got Bob and Scott, but now we got Wendy. Wendy, you're on the Christian Car Guy Show. Good morning.
Good morning, Robbie. How are you doing? I'm so glad to hear your voice.
Oh, I am. I can't even, I tell everybody, if anybody would have told me I'd feel this good in 4 or 5 weeks, like, I have no back pain. I have no neck pain.
A blessing.
It's
God.
unbelievable. And
Wow.
all the prayers that were
You look good, too.
prayed for me too. That's impossible. But anyway, I am beyond thankful that, in spite of the many shenanigans that I have been involved in my life, that I have.
Many is not big enough of a word.
You took a licking, didn't you? I mean, tell our audience what happened.
Well, they know. Most people know that I was in a Toyota Prius that was. Somebody ran into the back of my wife and I at 65 miles an hour. We were stopped.
Wow.
And it crushed the car horribly and sent some camp chairs that I had in the back of the car that I will never put vertically again. In other words, I should have had them horizontal, but it sent those chairs through my seat. One of them hit me in the head, which hurt my neck substantially, and one of them hit me in the back and actually pierced the jacket I was wearing and went through the back of the seat, and it broke my back and 2 of the vertebrae. The real scary part was it pushed in the artery that comes from your heart there that would have been to create a pseudoaneurysm, so they had to do surgery on that artery, which was really a big deal. I mean, man. and you think this was 6-7 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I don't
Easter, right?
it was right at the turn of April, and so it, yeah.
So were the airbags deployed?
Oh, not in our car because we were stopped. The car that was behind us, I thought this is how bad it looked. That I thought it was a Buick minivan, and I thought to myself, and I remember being on the stretcher coming around the car and seeing it. I said, I didn't know Buick made a minivan. They didn't. The whole front of that car had been.
I saw the picture.
Just absolutely flattened. But nonetheless, God, Wendy, thank you for saying that. I have to say that God is so good, and so many listeners and so many people that God, my church, etc., that were praying for me means the world for me. But you called us, so I don't want to not give you a chance to share.
How's the Volvo?
Thank you. The Volvo is great, and praise God for your healing, Robbie. We did. We prayed. My son and I prayed for you for sure. And it's interesting you guys were talking today about serving others, because when you guys first gave me a car, and especially really recently too, God immediately put on my heart that I was to then also give rides to other people. I don't know if you know this, Robbie, but the first weekend after I got the Volvo, I think it was, a friend who never asked me for a ride said, I really need to get to the airport. Is there any way you can give me a ride on such and such date? And I said, yes, I can. And then several other people, since then I've just been given opportunities. And it's such a blessing when God not only calls you, but equips you somehow. And it's the neatest thing, because with you guys, the equipping for me, others with giving rides, came through you giving me a Volvo, giving me a car. And that equipping for you came from someone else who donated the car to you. And it's just the neatest way God uses multiple people and allows that blessing to be not only given, but given forward and carried forward. So thank you for being faithful in that. And thank you for not only finding the donors. I'm here to say to any listeners who are listening, it works. Like, these guys are not just saying this. They actually get the cars, clean them up, do such an amazing, Scott, especially with my car, did such an amazing job. It looked like it had just come from the detailer shop. It was amazing. I get this nice, new looking, clean smelling car, and it was such a blessing. Thank you, Scott, for your hard work in that. But you guys it works. Like, if your listeners are listening, you donate a car and these guys take care of the rest. And I'm living proof. My son is the benefactor of that, and I'm the benefactor of that. And anybody who asks me for a ride, I can joyfully say yes. And I've given rides to people with epilepsy. I've given rides to all kinds of non-believers. Actually, I'm praying for one in particular now who I've been able to give rides to and tell this story to, like, look at how God's people provided.
That's so beautiful,
Wendy. For me.
You are such a blessing to your community.
Thank you so much, Wendy. That is awesome.
Thank you for your call.
Yes.
You're such a
And
blessing.
if you're listening and you want to call with a way that, God, you follow Jesus into service, we would love to hear from you. 866-348-7884, 866-34-TRUTH. In the Garage, coming up with RK at the bottom of the hour. He's got a story to tell. Can hardly wait. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Now serving number 823. Well, it's another long day here at the DMV.
Just say yes forever
Now serving today on the Christian Car Guy Show. How fun, as we're talking about, wow, what an honor, what a joy it is to be a mom, right? To have that child, and it's fascinating how that is connected to that idea of service. And anybody that's got a mom knows how much their mom, well, I hope they know how much a mom serves them, because I realize everybody didn't have a mom like me, but it was what God had in mind. was that service that's just unbelievable. Maybe you had a grandmother or something like that you could identify with. But again, it's time for In the Garage with RK. So have fun. And now time for the legendary garage of RK, 88 and still full throttle. 89 now in full throttle, so I can hardly wait until we get to be 90 in full throttles. So you missed RK in the beginning of the show. We talked about what happened to my other Toyota Prius, and so God provided. And it's so neat for me personally. I love, and RK knows how much I loved my Toyota Prius, and he had another 2007 Toyota Prius, so I feel like I'm driving the old car. But there was a challenge, right, RK?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It all started when I got the car. The tire light was on. I said, I'm going to fix that. Well, because Robbie needed another car, I decided to do that on Tuesday. I have an electrical engineer's son, and he said, Dad, we'll fix it. So we started Tuesday with a scanner. I don't have my own scanner. I borrowed it from a shop. And all this time I'm thinking of my father saying, Richard, fix it. So we get going on it, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't put the wheels in program with the sensors in the wheels to the car. So we decided to cancel that, and we went and bought a universal one. So we had the wheels on with universal. We worked about 3-4 hours. We couldn't do that either. We then took the wheels off, put new Toyota OEM made in Japan sensors in. And they said, well, this should fix it. Well, guess what? At 4 o'clock, we still hadn't fixed it on Wednesday. I said, I told Robbie that I would have that car on Wednesday night for him. So I didn't have to eat crow, but I had to go and tell him I'm sorry I couldn't fix it. And in my mind, listeners, you have to think of this, because my father always said, he taught me everything I know just about, and he would say, fix it. And if you didn't fix it, sockets would be going across the room at your head, so you had to. And it just bothered me that I couldn't fix that, but I am going to fix it.
There's no doubt in my mind, but the beautiful thing is, those people who may have had struggles with their tire sensors, right? They turn yellow, and especially when the weather changes, that oh my goodness, here we go, we got to put air in the tires again. But I'm going to bet you that I don't even want to know how many lives those things have saved, right? For a lot of reasons, RK, and you know this too. Keeping the right air pressure in your tires is critical to the safety of that car from all sorts of different levels, right?
You get that. That's right. That's correct all the way.
Because let's say that you got
stopping and everything else like that, and turning. If you have a flat tire and you try to turn, it's not going to do the job.
It's not just that, but a lot of people in the old days, they'd ride around with cars from oil change to oil change and never check the tire pressure. Well, if you got 23 pounds of pressure in the right front tire, and you got 32 pounds of pressure in the left front tire, and you're in an emergency situation and you slam on your brakes, guess which way your car's going to go? To the right.
To the left. Right or left. Whatever,
yeah, it's going to go to where the low pressure tire is, whichever, it is. And so when you slam on the brakes, you need to go straight in that emergency situation. And little did you know that due to the fact that you didn't keep your car where it should be, it didn't go where it was. Or it causes tires to blow. It causes all sorts of things to happen. And so the point that again, we know it's frustrating, and RK and I really know how frustrating it can be at this point in time. However, it's critical to your family, to the safety of other people that you might be driving on the highway with, that your tires be properly inflated, not to mention gas mileage, et cetera, right, Bob?
Absolutely, brother. That's inflated tires, especially on bigger vehicles like a motorhome or something. It can just really be detrimental to lose a steering tire going down the highway. And I've had it happen. I have had a tire go explode.
Sure.
But I was at a low speed, thank God, because I just come from Pilot Mountain and it had been 65 miles an hour coming down the highway. And I got off and was headed to the house and I was still accelerating and hadn't got up too fast. But it could have been a very different outcome if that tire had let you loose at a higher speed.
And, I know myself, just the convenience of, like, man, you get in your car and you get ready to go down the road, and that light, the yellow light not only comes on, but when it's seriously low, it flashes, right? And you look out there and you didn't know you had a tire in that nail in that tire, and that thing is fixing to be flat. So even if you don't blow the tire, you'll be on the side of the road somewhere versus in your driveway where you can do something about it. And so these things, I know they're aggravating, as are check engine lights and so many other lights that are on your car. However, when you really think about it, they're lifesavers. And so thank you, Richard, for, pardon me?
Also, Robbie, the problem with you can't feel it on the radial tires that much. On the old bias ply, you could feel that, if you had a problem with the tire going way down. But I've seen people driving cars and they don't know they have a flat because that radial tire is pretty darn good of cushioning the difference, So if you don't look, you don't know if you have a flat.
That's right.
Sometimes.
Scott, you were going to say
if you don't have the check engine light, if you don't have that check tire light on, it comes on. All cars don't have it years ago, so it's difficult sometimes.
If you don't have it on your car, you need to make sure your tires are properly inflated. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I hear you, RK, and I totally agree.
First echelon maintenance.
But those tire sensors are really a pain. And my truck, I've had it flashing for over 6 years. Now, I did address the problem about 2 years ago. I went and got some online, and I didn't get the proper ones, the Toyota ones. I just got the cheap ones. I took them to the tire place. They aligned my tires and balanced them, and they put them on. I think I bought 4. Well, the light came off, but before I got out of the parking lot, one of my tires was flat, and they couldn't figure out what the problem was. They just said, if you bought them from us, they were like $115 each, and I think I got 4 for $100, but they weren't up to
didn't turn out to
they
be
weren't
a deal,
quality.
did it?
So they took them off right there in the parking lot, pumped the tire back up. Light is still on, but it runs fine.
Well, again, I will say that yes, it runs fine. However, it's there for a reason.
Well, I got the cheap ones.
That the idea is
learned my lesson.
that the idea is to keep the proper tire. And if you're disciplined enough that when you stop to get gas, or at least once or twice a month, you go out there with a tire gauge and measure your tires, and I'm proud of you, okay? But if you're not, you need to get them things fixed.
Yeah.
Just saying, because, again, every time you get on the road, it's not just your safety that's involved.
Yeah.
You got all the people that are driving around with you, whether that's driving distracted or whatever it is that we choose to do. And again, I know you're saying hypocrite, and that's probably true, but nonetheless, we all need to be more careful because, man, I know what it's like. Not long ago, my wife was on one floor of the hospital, I was on the other. My kids were totally distraught because all these lives were affected because one person got distracted while they were driving, right?
Did you ever find out what were they texting? I mean, why did
we don't know. We just know that slam.
I bet they were.
They
texting.
weren't over braking. How about that?
I bet they were on their phone.
Well, thank you, RK. As always, so exciting to be in the garage with my friend And what a great topic.
Yeah,
we'll
thank
be
you,
back
RK.
with a whole lot more
You
on
are
service
a
when we come
treasure.
back. Yes, he is.
You're listening to the Truth Network and truthnetwork.com.
Now serving number 823. Well, it's another long day here at the DMV.
Just say yes forever now.
Oh, the difference between serving in our minds and serving when we're actually following Jesus and seeing what he has for us. Today on the Christian Car Guy Show, we would love to know, we really would, when has following Jesus led you into service for him? 866-348-7884, 866-348-truth. So as I was studying this idea of serving, and I couldn't help but note Hannah's prayer is like this most beautiful thing, and it really helps me in understanding prayer that like here Hannah was saying in her own way, give me a chance to serve. Give me a chance to be your maidservant, right? And she did it in such a way that God honored it, and it literally changed the world. It changed the way the word prayer is written in the Bible. It changed Israel going kind of backsliding into a situation where they got a prophet by the name of Samuel who anointed both King Saul and then King David, and a lot changed. And she was given the first person to mention Mashiach, the actual word Messiah, that Jesus is named Jesus Christ. I don't know if you knew that Christ means Messiah, and that last name, sort of Jesus' last name, Christ, the first person that mentions it in the Bible is Hannah in the song that she sang, which is also a prayer in the next chapter of the book of Samuel. And so as I got this idea about service, I went and I noted I do a podcast with a Jewish rabbi out of Jerusalem by the name of Rabbi Chaim Eisen every Monday. It's called Robbie and the Rabbi. Which I love to do it. And he was pointing out how misquoted our Bibles have what Moses told Pharaoh. Because we've heard it since we were little kids in Bible school, that it was let my people go. Isn't that what you heard, Bob?
Yes,
let my people go.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're listening.
I think it's even that way in the movie.
It's that way all over the place. However, when you look at it actually in the Bible itself, and you there's more to those verses. And by the way, in Hebrew, there's not a comma there. Because what it actually says, and in the way that word that says go, let go, could probably be better translated send forth. Because every place prior to that word being used, it says send forth, like Noah sent forth a raven. Noah, they sent forth Adam and Eve out of the garden, they were sent forth. And so what God actually said without the comma is, to Pharaoh, let my people go forth to serve me, or to worship me, or to offer sacrifices to me. In other words, it was a whole sentence. It wasn't let my people go. There was a purpose to it. And that purpose was mostly, when you look at it in all situations, the idea of serving. And so actually, the freedom to serve God is a phenomenal liberty that, again, people fought for and died thanks to Memorial Day, right, as we know. But this concept of, I get to serve God rather than money, rather than Satan, rather than some shenanigans that I'm being driven by and by my flesh. It's that Jesus asked us to follow him, but in what? In service, right? And this Scott pointed out, and Bob, like it's the opposite. Any psychiatrist will tell you, or psychologist, that one of the biggest solutions to depression is go help somebody else, right? But actually, if you're doing it in service to Jesus, then you're actually accomplishing something. As Jesus said, apart from me, you can do nothing. So if you want to do something, what is it you should be doing? Serving God. Right? And
absolutely.
And did I wake up this morning going, your handmaid's right here, Lord. What would you have me? How can I follow you? Because unfortunately, a lot of times I'm like that little dog that I've got on the leash. I keep looking back to see if my master's back there. That's just not the answer. Okay, you're supposed to be looking forward because we're following, right? Rather than is he still back there?
You know, Robbie, I just read something online a couple days ago about these tech companies are now hiring chaplains because these young workers that are so focused and are very intelligent, very educated, are very depressed because of the social media and they can't put the phone down. So these high-tech companies are actually hiring chaplains. Isn't that wonderful?
It's wonderful. Again, depending on the chaplains, if they are in fact seeing that, okay, there's one way, and that would be Jesus. Yeah. And he is the good shepherd, not the good leash.
I hope you're telling them to put the phone down and quit pretending like you have a lot of friends.
Right. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just look at this opportunity for each of us as we pray, right? Because here's this prayer. Hannah prayed it, and she prayed it from her heart. That was quite obvious that she did that if you study the prayer. And it's our opportunity to say, okay, Lord, help me to serve you today. Show me, shepherd me, right? It's this opportunity that we each have, and it may be that one of the ways he wants to shepherd you is to go to the ChristianCarGuy.com website to say, oh, wow, I could pray for the Jesus Labor Love. I could give financially to the Jesus Labor Love. I could help go pick up this car in Ohio that we happen to need, or I could donate a car, as Wendy said. All right. Or like so many do, and I'm so grateful, because if we didn't have the people that had the courage to say I have a need and the humility to say, I really need some help. Without those people, we wouldn't have a reason for the ministry. So those people who have the courage to say, hey, I need help with my car, or somebody needs help with your car. And so many of them happen, Scott, and you know this too. Somebody heard on the radio that we do this, and they referred those people to fill out the application of the Jesus Labor of Love. And so we need the people to help. We need the people that are going to help us help. Right? All those things fit into the equation of serving God. And sometimes serving God is actually admitting you have a need.
Yeah.
Because if you don't admit you have a need, you're robbing all the people that want to help you. As my daughter pointed out to me as I was in bed for over a month, Dad, you got to admit you can't cook for yourself. You can't help Mom. You can't go to work. You have to admit you need help. Takes humility. And serving God for me for a while was being still.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how we try to be manly and what it takes sometime for us to realize that, hey, I can't do it all. And it's hard. I mean,
it really is.
And we grow up thinking we're Superman, and then all of a sudden we lose part of our capability and have to admit that, oops, I need a little help.
Right. And so I would just give everybody the opportunity to. Humility is a wonderful quality. Again, we're about out of time, so I guess I got to remind you, right, that this radio show is in such a part of the Jesus Labor Love. And if you go to ChristianCarGuy.com, that's ChristianCarGuy.com, you're going to find the Jesus Labor Love. You can apply for help, donate, whatever it is, it's all there. Again, we're so grateful for that ministry and everybody who's a part of it. We thank you again for all those who gave service to this country, and we want to remember them at 3 o'clock on Monday, the veterans, and to slow down. Jesus walked everywhere he went, got it all done. 33 years. Thank you for listening.